Call this meeting to order. 11:30, Wednesday, September 25th, 2024. We're here to take some action on the Bear Creek Flats minor subdivision case MS 164-24. At this point, we have taken, we've had the public hearings. We've had that. We're to the point of deliberation, making a final decision on this thing. All the commissioners have read through all the material now I have. I'm open to discussion or ideas or motions.
At this point, and understanding all the testimony and the conditions of the road, I just haven't seen enough legal evidence of where we can deny with the provisions that they have provided.
Okay.
I would also concur with that. I also believe that our roads department has given a statement and recommendation, and I believe that recommendation can go forward into would it be an additional condition of approval.
And I'm still struggling with, been up the road, concerned. I understand our legal obligations here. I understand, I think what the county is, Public Works is recommending would make a difference. It would help. I'm still concerned about at some point we may have hit maximum on that road, but.
I am as well. I just can't find any legal ways to back it up.
Right. Well, that being said, do we have a motion? Anybody entertain a motion? Somebody, I'm not feeling too strong about this, so I'm not going to make the motion.
Well, I'm not real strong about it either, but evidence presented and advice with legal, and I think we'd run into more legal problems if we were to deny it because they've done everything they're supposed to.
That's a good point.
I'm going to reluctantly move to approve on the conditions of approval that they implement the recommendations that Public Works has mentioned.
And that's the Public Works mentions improvement to critical shoulder areas to be constructed, and the drainage, signage, striping improvements also made by the developer. I would agree with that. I would second that.
Okay, so you're moving to approve with the additional conditions set forward by Public Works on August 29th, and you're seconding that.
Yes.
Okay.
I've looked for every avenues legally to back up both sides, and I just don't have enough to back up the denial without more legal costs coming down.
Okay. Well, we can agree to disagree. I think at some point our roads do hit a maximum amount of use. I understand the study. They've done everything we've asked, so we do need to take action. Do we have any further discussion?
No, I would just, this condition is that they're going to do this before they start developing. Is that what?
Yes, the condition would have to be met prior to final plat recording. And there's a couple different ways to achieve that.
Okay. So the condition would have to be met before they could do anything. So we have a motion, and we have a second. Do we have any further discussion, Commissioner?
No.
No? All right, then let's take it to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
All opposed? Nay. Okay, the motion carries, and with the approval of or with the additional conditions is the word I'm using. Okay. All right. I'm going to open it up for public comment now, unless I have anything from planning and zoning.
Yes, sir.
Anything for those?
I just want to explain that the process. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. The mechanism here, then speaking out of both positions, is that either go do the work and meet Public Works approval, and when they sign off on it, then the final plat can come back before you for signatures and final recording. Another option, given the time of year, would be to post a bond, a performance bond for that work to be done. And that work might be done in the spring, but then that bond would hold the client liable to do that, where you could go forth and do the final platting sooner now, and then the work could be completed in the spring, either with the funding or with the bonding. Those two mechanisms to make that happen. So just so you're aware that we came back in front of you with a final plat with a bond, that would be a mechanism for making sure that that work gets done.
But we could set a deadline.
Yeah, certainly within a year or within the time frame, whenever the bonding or whatever the deadline is. Getting the work done.
Okay. All right. That being said, is there anything else from the board before I open the public comment? Then? All right. Go ahead. Mr. Beener, no comment? No. Sir, no comment? Public
No,
comment?
I've got one. I don't know if it bears the case, but Mr. Dan here is representing a private party, and I don't see why that isn't a conflict of interest. He's a county employee, and I don't think he should have the right to represent a private party. You know, he knows all the ins and outs with you folks, and I still don't think that's the right way for any county employee to represent a private party on this type of a situation.
Okay. Duly noted.
Could I get a list of what they're going to do before they let the building going on?
Yes, please.
Oh.
Do that.
I'll just keep this?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a copy of the letter.
And then I have one more comment. If Dan was not the consultant for this new group, would it be that hard to deny it? We seem to be having a lot of trouble. I just was curious, seeing how he's working through. I guess that goes back to conflict of interest, because I agree with Gary. There's no way this is kosher. I just can't see. I would imagine if something bad happens, it could be a pretty good lawsuit, but I don't know. That's all I have.
Okay. Ma'am? Any comment? Frank, any comment? Dan, you care to respond to anything?
Just as far as to say, we have certainly explored the legal ramifications of me being both a consultant as well as an employee. Everybody from the board, when I was rehired, to the prosecuting attorney, was explored on would that be a problem or not. As long as we took the steps to demonstrate that I had no material effect on this application, and in that case you have the testimony of Trish here that has worked through this case, that all of the work and effort that goes into these things is certainly supplemented by me or aided by me in my experience as P&Z, but in no way affects the decision-making process. And as a planner, I never make a decision. I always make recommendations, and I make sure the procedure is followed correctly. So from a client perspective and as a planning and zoning perspective, I have always held myself to that standard of exposure, that this was certainly could be in question. And so I do find it a bit insulting, but I understand the reasoning for the thought and the concern. I've not ever shown myself to be a dishonest person or a persuasive person, and I think you can certainly, if there's an element of impropriety that's being thought of, then certainly ask those that have been affected by this, Jessica, Trish, anybody else that's been involved in this. Your own testimony. Have I come to talk to you about this case at all? From a client's perspective, no, I have not, and that's been very specific. So that's been a clear understanding from you folks, as well as me, and with public attorney, that as long as we are forthright about it, and then we're not hiding it, we're not trying to do something untoward. So it's an element of a decision. When we didn't have somebody to fill my position, I was already involved in a business that I had established, and I don't feel like I should have to give up that business. And that was agreed to when I came came back on. So until there's some evidence that there's some impropriety going on, I don't see it as a problem.
Appreciate it.
And my own investigating and study of the situation did not consult planning and zoning whatsoever. I did all my resources, other avenues.
And I've worked with Trish. And I just voted against you, and you're taking it well, so thank you. Yeah. All right. I'm sorry I can't do any more public comment, but you can save your comments for individual commissioners afterwards. All right. With that, we are adjourned.